Governance, risk, and compliance, GRC, is a critical component of any organization's cybersecurity strategy. The objective of GRC is to create a framework for managing risk, ensuring compliance with regulations and laws, and providing oversight for cybersecurity initiatives. Governance. Governance involves establishing policies, procedures, and guidelines for managing cybersecurity risks. The governance framework should define the roles and responsibilities of personnel involved in cybersecurity, such as the Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, and other members of the IT department. It should also establish clear lines of communication and reporting to ensure that cybersecurity risks are identified, assessed, and addressed in a timely and effective manner. Risk management. Risk management is the process of identifying, assessing, and mitigating risks to an organization's information assets. This involves identifying potential threats to the organization's information assets, such as data breaches or cyber attacks, and assessing the likelihood and potential impact of those threats. Once risks have been identified and assessed, risk mitigation strategies can be developed and implemented to reduce the likelihood and impact of a successful attack. Compliance. Compliance is the process of ensuring that an organization is adhering to regulations and laws related to cybersecurity. This includes compliance with industry standards such as the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS, and government regulations such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, and the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. Compliance requires ongoing monitoring and assessment to ensure that the organization is meeting its obligations. The role of GRC in cybersecurity. The role of GRC in cybersecurity is to ensure that an organization is implementing effective policies, procedures, and controls to manage risks and comply with regulations and laws. This involves the following activities. Risk assessment. GRC professionals conduct risk assessments to identify and assess risks to the organization's information assets. They use this information to develop risk mitigation strategies and ensure that appropriate controls are in place to protect against cyber threats. Compliance management. GRC professionals are responsible for ensuring that the organization is complying with relevant regulations and laws related to cybersecurity. This involves monitoring compliance activities and reporting any violations to management. Policy and procedure development. GRC professionals develop policies and procedures related to cybersecurity, such as incident response plans, disaster recovery plans, and security awareness training programs. These policies and procedures help ensure that the organization is prepared to respond to cyber threats. Vendor management. GRC professionals are responsible for managing third-party vendors and ensuring that they meet the organization's cybersecurity requirements. This includes conducting due diligence on vendors, monitoring vendor performance, and ensuring that vendors comply with relevant regulations and laws. Challenges in GRC. Despite the importance of GRC in cybersecurity, there are several challenges that organizations face when implementing a GRC framework. Lack of resources. GRC requires significant resources, including personnel, technology, and financial resources. Many organizations struggle to allocate the necessary resources to implement an effective GRC framework. Complexity. GRC can be complex, involving multiple regulations, laws, and industry standards. It can be challenging for organizations to navigate these requirements and ensure compliance. Changing regulatory landscape. Regulations and laws related to cybersecurity are constantly evolving, making it difficult for organizations to stay up to date and comply with the latest requirements. Communication. Effective communication is critical to the success of GRC. However, communication can be challenging, particularly in large organizations with multiple stakeholders. Conclusion. Governance, risk, and compliance, GRC, is a critical component of any organization's cybersecurity strategy. By implementing effective policies, procedures, and controls, organizations can manage risks, ensure compliance with regulations and laws, and provide oversight for cybersecurity initiatives. Security policies and procedures are an essential component of any organization's overall security strategy. They are designed to provide guidance and direction on how to protect the organization's assets and data from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, modification, destruction, or disruption. Regulatory compliance refers to the process of ensuring that an organization adheres to the applicable laws, regulations, and standards in its industry. Security auditing and assessment are necessary to evaluate the effectiveness of the organization's security policies and procedures, identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses, and implement remediation measures. Security metrics and reporting provide insight into the organization's security posture, measure the effectiveness of security controls, and facilitate decision-making by management. This paper will discuss each of these topics in detail: security policies and procedures. Security policies and procedures are the foundation of an organization's security program. They provide guidance on how to protect the organization's assets and data, establish expectations for behavior and responsibilities, and outline the consequences of noncompliance. A well-designed security policy should cover the following areas: access control. The policy should specify who has access to the organization's assets and data and what level of access they have. It should also outline the procedures for granting and revoking access. Incident management. The policy should provide guidance on how to handle security incidents, including reporting, investigation, and response. Physical security. The policy should cover the security measures necessary to protect the organization's physical assets, such as buildings, equipment, and supplies. Network security. The policy should specify the measures necessary to protect the organization's network infrastructure, such as firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and antivirus software. Data security. The policy should outline the procedures for protecting the organization's data, including backup and recovery, encryption, and access control. Regulatory compliance. Regulatory compliance refers to the process of ensuring that an organization adheres to the applicable laws, regulations, and standards in its industry. Compliance is necessary to protect the organization's assets and data, maintain customer trust, and avoid legal and financial penalties. The following are the key steps in achieving regulatory compliance. Identify the applicable regulations. The first step is to identify the laws, regulations, and standards that apply to the organization's industry and operations. Assess the organization's current state. The organization should conduct an assessment of its current state to identify areas of noncompliance and vulnerabilities. Develop and implement compliance policies and procedures. The organization should develop and implement policies and procedures to address the areas of noncompliance and vulnerabilities identified in the assessment. Train employees. The organization should train its employees on the policies and procedures to ensure that they understand their roles and responsibilities. Monitor and report compliance. The organization should monitor its compliance with the regulations and report any noncompliance to the appropriate authorities. Security auditing and assessment. Security auditing and assessment are necessary to evaluate the effectiveness of the organization's security policies and procedures, identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses, and implement remediation measures. The following are the key steps in conducting a security audit and assessment. Define the scope. The first step is to define the scope of the audit or assessment, including the systems, processes, and data to be evaluated. Develop the methodology. The organization should develop a methodology for conducting the audit or assessment, including the tools and techniques to be used. Conduct the audit or assessment. The organization should conduct the audit or assessment, including collecting and analyzing data, interviewing stakeholders, and testing the systems and processes. Identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses. The organization should identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses in the systems and processes evaluated. Implement remediation measures. The organization should implement remediation measures to address the vulnerabilities and weaknesses identified. Security metrics and reporting. Security metrics and reporting provide insight into the organization's security posture, measure the effectiveness of security controls, and facilitate decision-making by management. The following are the key steps in developing and reporting security metrics. Identify the metrics. The first step is to identify the metrics that are most relevant to the organization's security posture, such as the number of security incidents, the time to detect and respond to incidents, and the percentage of systems with up-to-date security patches. Define the reporting process. The organization should define the process for collecting, analyzing, and reporting the security metrics. Create dashboards and reports. The organization should create dashboards and reports to display the security metrics in a clear and understandable format. Analyze the metrics. The organization should analyze the security metrics to identify trends, patterns, and areas of improvement. Use the metrics for decision-making. The organization should use the security metrics to make informed decisions on security-related matters, such as resource allocation, risk management, and policy development. Conclusion. Security policies and procedures, regulatory compliance, security auditing and assessment, and security metrics and reporting are essential components of any organization's security program. These topics require continuous attention, updates, and improvements to ensure that the organization's assets and data are adequately protected from threats and risks. By implementing effective security policies and procedures, ensuring regulatory compliance, conducting regular security audits and assessments, and reporting on security metrics, organizations can strengthen their security posture and build trust with their stakeholders.